So, welcome to the Slice of Time Street Photography podcast, episode 19 normally already. So today I'm joined by Sarah Plummer, a street photographer from England, also a wedding photographer, I understood. And I like her work because it's very warm and it feels like it would be very personal to the subject, which is logical regarding the wedding photography, of course, but it also feels that way for the street photography. So maybe, Sarah, you could introduce yourself for a second?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for having me. I'm Sarah. I've always had an interest in photography, and kind of have dipped in and out of it a little bit since my school days. Um, more recently, it kind of came to the forefront again after lockdown. I think I'd been poorly with COVID myself, and then on the first day that I was able to go outside again, I started noticing things more, and found myself just taking photos of really mundane things on my phone. The sun was out, things just looked really nice. And I started doing that initially, and then before long decided it was time to get myself a little camera, something that I could keep with me all the time, because I felt I was starting to notice things more and see things in a different way. And I wanted to have something with me that I could not necessarily plan to go out and take photographs, but if I saw something, I was able to capture it. So I bought myself a little Fuji, and that's where it all kind of began, really. And then just by coincidence, met a couple of other people through Instagram. One of them was into street photography and had been watching a lot of YouTube videos and kind of was sharing stuff with me, which I'd always been quite fascinated by people and people watching. I've worked with lots of people over the years, and I kind of understand that everyone has a story and you can't necessarily judge people by your first impressions. And I find it fascinating kind of imagining what someone's story is. Um, and then kind of became more focused on observing little interactions or little scenes that might play out, and in my imagination, coming up with what it might be, and then having these feelings. I started getting like feelings, and for me photography is as much about the feeling that a picture gives you, and it's obviously it's not going to be the same for each person that sees it. One person might feel something totally different to the next person, and that's really nice too. But yeah, for me, a photograph, it's about capturing a feeling or a moment in time. And I always said, never want to do wedding photography. It's too stressful, too much pressure. But actually, this same friend who got me into street photography, I'll shoot weddings with him, and it's really nice. It's lovely. And we just feed off each other. And it's for me, it's about telling somebody's story in their way, when you're working for somebody else, and kind of trying to make someone else feel what they're feeling, if that makes sense. But yeah, the street photography and the wedding photography, when I'm shooting a wedding, I feel like I am shooting street photography, but it's just with people that are happy for me to be doing it. Like, I don't need to make myself invisible or kind of worry about things becoming too contrived and things being less candid, because people are encouraged just to be themselves and they don't mind having a camera in their face. So I think both kind of have helped me go further with the other one, if that makes
They
sense.
feed into each other. Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes
yeah,
sense.
it
Yeah,
does. And I'll go through phases of really wanting to do street stuff, or then I'll perhaps have a step away and I'll want to do more like landscapes or travel stuff. And it's nice how it's so varied and you can dip in and out, and it just kind of naturally grows in whichever direction. And I'm quite happy to do that. I don't feel anymore like I need to have a certain niche or a certain style. And I think just letting it go wherever it feels good gets the best
yeah,
results.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. So there's already a lot a lot of directions I want to go in with that short introduction of you just had. So maybe first of all, let's start with so you went out with your smartphone at first, and then
Hmm.
you met up with the friends who got you into street photography. Would you have considered yourself a street photographer before before that moment? Because like, did you already
No, I
know about
didn't.
street photography or
No,
no?
I didn't really know what street photography was.
Because you were doing it in my
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah. No, I really didn't know anything about it. And then quite quickly started following more and more people that were doing it online.
mm,
Um, Not necessarily watching so many videos, but yeah, finding that a lot of my stuff fell into that category, um, and trying not to let myself have those constrictions of what some people think street photography has to be and what it can't be, still trying to photograph what appealed to me,
mm.
I think was important.
Yeah. And do you have like certain ways to make sure that you just keep photographing what sparks your eye and not necessarily what's seen as
Yeah, I
street
think it
photography?
just instinct really,
Yeah.
as simple as that. I think if I see something, I won't go out and plan what I'm going to take photos of. I know some people find it helpful to set themselves like a little brief, almost like today I'm going to look for hand gestures, or I'm going to look for a certain color, or I'm going to look, yeah. But I've 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 tried that, and yeah, sometimes it naturally happens, but I think it's just naturally what I'm drawn to. Um, yeah, just following my
Okay.
instincts.
Yeah. And so for like, is there inspiration, or do you look at other photographers for inspiration, or is it really all just natural for you, just
I
how it
think
goes?
I think other people's work subconsciously definitely like infiltrates me and it comes out, but it's not something that I'm consciously doing. Thinking, oh, I want to make a photo like what they've made. I think all these things we absorb, and subconsciously it's in there, so that something you might not have considered before, I'll then notice that I might not have before.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's I try and keep it quite natural, I think, and just yeah, not be too bogged down by what's been done before, or equally think, oh, I can't do that because that's been done before. It's like, no, it's art, and everyone sees it and interprets it differently and has their own representation of it. So that's
Exactly, yeah. And in
how
street
I
photography, well, street photography as well, like you can like maybe see a similar moment, but it's still going to be totally different than what someone else
absolutely, yeah. I mean, like
saw.
if I
So
go out with other people, quite often you'll see the same thing, and one of us will back off as if to say, "Oh no, it's okay, you've seen it first." But it really doesn't bother me if someone else is photographing what I've seen, because 9 times out of 10, the final image is totally different, and you can normally tell whose is whose anyway.
yeah, that's
You,
true.
yeah, it doesn't bother me, and I have had a few messages recently, um, asking how I shoot. Like people perhaps like the colours that I use, and they'll say, "Oh, do you shoot straight out of camera, or are you using presets, or what are you doing?" It's not that I'm trying to copy your work or anything, and people get quite defensive, like they have to defend themselves when they're asking for advice. And I don't have a problem with it. I'm quite happy to share with how I'm doing it. If it's helping somebody else, then
Exactly, yeah.
that's fine. It's not going to be the same as mine, because equally when I started out, I would look at certain people's work and think, I wonder how they've done that. What camera are they using, or how are they doing this? So yeah, it really doesn't bother me. I'll take it as a compliment and happy to share.
Yeah, exactly. Because you mentioned you would go out with people to photograph. Before you go into that, you already mentioned like you were curious to the gear from other people as well, and because you mentioned that at the start that you first went out using your smartphone, did you find like the step from a smartphone to a camera? Did you find it difficult to well, technically it's different, but also there are, in my opinion, maybe more options. So was it a struggle
Yeah,
or?
yeah, it did, and I'm the least technical person ever. Even the cameras that I have now, I don't know everything that they do. I don't, I hear people talking about gear and lenses and does it have theatre? I don't know. It's not about that for me. It's about what's happening out there that's more interesting to me than what's capturing it. But yeah, when I first got my camera, I didn't know my way around. I didn't know about depth of field. I knew kind of how I wanted it to look, but I really didn't know how to go about it. It was very much trial and error. Um, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
was a challenge.
Yeah. Because for me, like photography is like is like halfway technology or science and halfway to art.
Yes. Yes.
And it's you have people that go like very hard in either direction, so it's that's fine, of course. But just because you mentioned you were starting with a smartphone, I wondered because it's very different to photograph with a smartphone than with a camera to me. So yeah, I was wondering if
Yes.
that caused any issues.
Yes. No, definitely was a challenge, and
Yeah, I
still is
can imagine.
sometimes.
And do you sometimes still resort to the smartphone? Or
I try not to. My smartphone is very old. It's really not very good at all. No, I would rather probably not take the photo and let it go than use a smartphone now.
do you
Yeah.
have like I have it I have it sometimes that I see a moment and I have my smartphone of my camera with me, but I just let it slide for some reason. And
Mm,
then like for a while I regret not taking a photo.
yes.
Do you have it then still
I've
or
got a few
okay.
stories like that. Yeah. So I'd
Okay.
been up to visit my daughter at university in Leeds quite a few years ago, and I'd got my camera with me, but it was in my bag.
Hmm. Classic,
And
yeah.
yeah, and walking down the road, and there were some people doing like a pub crawl in fancy dress, and all of a sudden, this person dressed as a leprechaun just did a forward roll in the middle of the road. I was like, why did I not have my camera in my hand? It was in my bag, and it was just, yeah,
That's
frustrating.
amazing, yeah. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
never gonna
Uh
get that again.
Probably not, no. That's a shame, yeah. So you mentioned going out with other people. Is that something you do often? Is it more of a group thing for you or
Yeah, no, I do like going out with other people. Um, I think if I go out on my own, I'm probably more focused and I'm
hmm,
more likely to see things. But when I go out with other people, um, it almost gives me more confidence sometimes to go in for the shot and not hesitate. Maybe if I was on my own, I might kind of circle and there and think, oh, I don't
that's
know.
that's definitely true, yeah. Yeah, because I most street photographers up to now that I interview were like they like to go out alone because they're, as you said, more focused and you can really like do your thing. Like if you want to stay back somewhere or
Mhm.
wait for 2 hours for someone to walk by, that's possible. But as you just mentioned, like you have the confidence more in a group. Like if you do a workshop or you go out with friends,
Yeah,
it is easier to get a bit closer or yeah.
yeah. There's less
So
hesitation, I think, for
yeah.
me. Yeah.
I think for especially for beginner photographers, maybe it's a good way. Or if you're just training to get closer to people, I think it's a good way
Mm.
to maybe go with friends. So that's
Yeah.
a very interesting that you mention it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I do enjoy going out with other people, and actually, photography has been really good to make connections with other people. It's just been really nice to become friends with like-minded people that have similar visions and interests, and yeah,
yeah,
I find that really valuable as much as anything else.
yeah. And was it mostly like via Instagram or via like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
local?
mainly.
Okay,
Yeah, mainly Instagram. Um, yeah, I know people have a few complaints about Instagram and it's not what it was, but I've genuinely built up some lovely connections with people. And, social media is social, isn't it? And I use it as a social platform to talk to people.
yeah,
I think sometimes if you're just going to go on and post and scroll and not interact with anybody, then yeah, that's what some people do. But for me, I really like the whole sharing, interacting, and um, yeah, giving credit to other people, when they've inspired you, and it's really nice.
yeah. I agree with that statement. I'm falling out of love with Instagram again. But at the same time, it's a tool. It's just a tool. You have to use it in your advantage. You have to see how it can benefit you, and then go for it. And it's great to make connections, as you said.
Yeah,
So because I saw you lived in a small town it's called Grantham,
that's
I
right.
understood.
Yeah.
So is there a big photography community there, or do you travel
Mm,
for those
Not
walks?
not really. No, not really. The nearest place is probably Lincoln and Nottingham. So Lincoln, there is a photo lab that's not long open there that does all my film developing and stuff, and they'll put on photo walks and things like that, and that's a nice little community feel. And again, the connections through Instagram, everybody sees each other's and shares and links back to that place, which is really nice. And Nottingham as well, there's quite a big photo community there. I think they're just looking at opening up a new space there at the moment with darkroom facilities and everything, which is something that I'd like to do some more of.
That's cool,
Um,
yeah. So you
yeah,
you you do a lot of analog stuff, or
I've started again in the last year. So when I was at school, I did a little bit. I think when I was at secondary school, one of my first lessons was making a pinhole camera, and it just blew my mind how you could have these like ghosty images
yeah,
um, on appear on this paper. I absolutely loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. And then at college, I did a little bit as well. And I actually worked in a camera shop when I was in my early 20s. Um, and all these things at the time never seemed significant, but looking back now, they've all kind of brought me to where I am. And I look back now and think, oh yeah, that was something that was like waiting to come out of me.
that's very
Um,
nice.
Yeah, and the dark room's just lovely. And shooting film, totally, it's like meditation. It just focuses your mind even more, slows you right down, and everything counts for a lot more. Whereas when you're shooting digital, I think it becomes a little bit disposable, if you like. It doesn't really matter because you can take as many shots as you like,
Hmm.
really.
True,
Then
yeah,
you get rid. But film, you have to make it count. So you're a lot more selective with what you're pressing the button on. And then, yeah, the whole anticipation is great. So yeah, I think saying myself sometimes I'll now go out and say, right, I'm only going to shoot film today, or I'm going to really try and only shoot film just to focus my mind as much as anything, because it's not always about coming home with the best photo. It's about learning and it's about enjoying the process.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
yeah,
I mean, yeah, you don't always come back with, a really good image, and you can quite quickly become disheartened if that's what your aim is.
yeah. I mean, it happens, and I always beat
Yeah,
myself up for it, and then
yeah,
I do
it
tell
does.
myself it's okay, but it's
Yeah,
annoying.
and I
So, but
don't, I
it's
don't want, I don't want to fall out of love with it. I've found
no,
something that means something to me, and it's always available to me if I need it, and I don't want it to become, um, yeah, something that makes me feel bad.
mm. No, yeah, that makes total sense. And so, because it feels that you do analog more for the the process rather than the end product. So it's a lot of people are doing analog photography because they feel it's more authentic, it's better colors, it's better whatever. But for you, it's more about the slowing down the process. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. And do you do
Mm.
the development yourself as well, or
I
you're going to
haven't. I
start it?
haven't
Yeah.
yet. I have been in the darkroom. I've done a little bit of printing in the darkroom. I've not developed my own negs yet. Well, not since I was at college. It's something I've thought about, but um, yeah, there's such good places that do it
Yeah.
locally that I can't, financially, I'll let them do it for now.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also easier for me. It's a lot of like I remember doing it in school. It was so much stress to do my negatives because if you fail, then it's gone. So yeah, that's why I'm more of a digital person. But that's to each their own. Um, so I also noticed on your Instagram that you did a big series on it's called Purim.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
first of all, I didn't know there was a big Jewish community in the UK. I know you're in Antwerp. We have a lot of them as well. Um, but I didn't know that there were that much in the UK. Is it something like, are you involved in the community because they?
It
It,
was something that had seen other photographers photograph in the past, and I'd actually reached out to one of them and asked the question, what is this event and how do you become a part of it? And then they'd sort of sent me the following year, "Right, I'm going down. If you want to come, this is where you need to be." So me and another friend got the train down to London, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Um, there was just so much going on,
Hmm.
um, and so different to anything that I'd seen before.
because it's a big event, like thousands of
Yeah,
people, or
yeah. So in London, there's an area called Stamford Hill. So they have a really large Jewish community there. And as far as I understand it, I think it's over 2 or 3 days, and the whole community come together and celebrate it. So the young boys will kind of get dressed up in their best gear and they've got these amazing hats. Everyone's house just seems to be open, and everyone's in and out of each other's houses, bringing food, um, and just moving through the streets. And it's very kind of, yeah, it's just the whole streets come alive. There's music.
okay?
Yeah,
So there's a lot happening, but it's not like an event where there's a stage and it's not really
no,
like a centralized
no,
event. Yeah.
yeah. It's just, I think it's just like a tradition. Going to other people's houses, sharing food, and helping people that need help. Um, but some of the costumes, the children get really dressed up, and they seem to, each family, from what I can gather, dress in the same theme. So it's really nice to see these young children, and it just feels totally safe that they're just walking the streets and going in their neighbours' houses, and the older ones are dressed the same as the little ones, and they're all holding hands and taking care of each other and grouped together. You can just kind of see them kind of migrating through the
Yeah.
streets. It's really nice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so because it's kind of similar to the wedding, perhaps that it's an event, so it's
Yeah.
more easy to approach people, or
Yeah, so I was a little bit apprehensive as to whether people would want like an outsider, if you like,
yeah.
coming in, and what were my motives. But and that's the other thing. I think being a woman, it does make it probably sometimes easier for me. People don't see me as a threat, or so. But honestly, that I was with other people as well, and people couldn't have been more welcoming. People were asking us to take photos of them, and then I'd always text someone's email and say, "Oh well, I'll send it to you." And yeah, it was lovely. It was really nice, really welcoming.
That's nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
started making. I have like little cards with just my email address and my Instagram to just hand out to people
yeah,
because it's easier than oh yeah, and then
yeah. Get your phone
and
open. Yeah,
because recently as well I was it was at a protest, and so I made photos and they were like instantly like, oh, can we get the pictures? And I was like, yeah, sure, but the internet was like overrun because there was like too many people in one area. So I couldn't type in my Instagram name. So I just like, yeah, I have a card because it's easier than
yeah. That's a
looking
good
up my
idea.
Instagram. Um, but so you mentioned earlier that it's for you not always as easy to approach people in the streets, but I've seen a lot of photos. Well, all of your photos are more or less human oriented. Well, most photos,
Yeah,
and you do seem to get close in my opinion. So
yeah, yeah. It's. I think it's kind of come with practice. I don't always feel comfortable, um, and I am getting better at asking people for portraits sometimes as well. I'd like to do more of that, but I find myself when I ask someone for a portrait, I get really flustered and I feel really rushed, and I'll get my settings wrong, or afterwards I'll go away and think that would have been so much better if I just slowed down and thought about where I was positioning them. Told that because people kind of naturally, you say, "Can I take a photo?" and they'll do a silly pose, or they'll smile. It's like, "Oh no, don't smile. Just like I want you as you were when I first saw you." And um, yeah, I need to get practice in kind of that, I think.
I
Yeah.
think it's it's okay to have like the crappy photos, like and just try it out and but yeah,
Yeah,
it sucks if you ask someone for their time and then
yeah.
it's
Shooting
a
from the hip is good as well. So my camera
okay.
had like a flip out LCD screen. So if I flip it up and I've got my around my neck, I can literally just be looking down and pressing down with my thumb, and people kind of don't get it. So it's shot from kind of down here rather than in their
Yeah.
face. So they're not,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you do that often?
The,
Because it,
the classic kind of, oh, just pretend you're fiddling with your camera and you don't know what you're doing. Yeah.
and do you do that often? Because I don't find in your photos that it's often framed that way.
Yeah, quite a lot, quite a lot. Yeah, quite
Okay.
often.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just wondering. Um,
Or
so
what the other thing that really helped. So I've recently been to Blackpool. I got a lot of shots of people on the seafront, and
yeah.
because they've got the big tower in the background, you can literally just walk down the street and like look past people, but you're really looking at them, and people just assume you're taking a photo of the tower. So yeah, that's another good one. Just look
That's
behind, pretend you're shooting something behind them.
that's something what I do often as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like let
yeah,
people walk into your frame and then
yes,
they'll even say sorry for being in the frame. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So because I did have a question about it because there it seemed that a lot of your photos are well not all of your photos of course, but a lot of your photos are beachside oriented because you also have like
Mm.
of course in Portugal, which is of course a lot of beach. So I was curious if there's like a specific reason that you like to go to the beach side, or
Um,
is it just something that I
Again, I think
noticed
it's
which
just.
isn't there?
I think it's just something that subconsciously I do.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
maybe it's not there. Maybe it's just something that I noticed because of the
yeah,
last
no,
photos. But
I think you are right. So I've just I did a zine earlier in the year, which was based around the seaside,
okay.
and my relationship with the seaside and other people's, and how it can be a place to reset and forget whatever's going on in your daily life. People go to kind of a bit of relief or
Hmm.
let go of themselves, and some people might just go for peace and solitude and connect to nature, and other people go to drink or eat loads of sugary stuff and go
Yeah,
wild on some fair rides and stuff. But yeah, I think people perhaps are a different version of themselves when they're somewhere like that. In my head, yeah, I find that quite interesting.
that's an interesting way to
The
look at it. Yeah.
freedom to it, yeah.
And so, how long did you have to photograph for the zine? Was it like just photos you already had and you decided to do something with it, or?
Yeah, it was photographs that I've taken over the last 4 or 5 years. There was some in there that I took kind of back in 2020, I think, when I got that first camera. There's some film ones in there that I took and I developed in the darkroom, and there was a proper good mix of stuff in there. But again, it just naturally seemed pulled together as a little project that subconsciously had built within me,
Hmm. Yeah,
and it just kind of came out as that. And it's probably something that I'll carry on adding to, because it is somewhere that I do enjoy photographing. The colours, when on a sunny day, the colours just pop, and even if somewhere's a little bit tired and run down, there's just something really nostalgic about it that I really like. It can look quite timeless, I think, sometimes as well.
definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I just noticed it, and it's funny. I didn't know about the zine, so it's fun that you did a project around it already. Um, so what brought you to make a zine out of it? Was it just because you thought like you had enough photos, or
Yeah, I think it was. I've started kind of a little, not collection, but I've started trying to buy other people's work that they've produced. And I bought a couple of zines from other people. And then working in the dark room and seeing my stuff in print, it's like a zine or a book is a nice way to present your work in print,
Hmm.
rather than try and trawl through a back catalogue of photos and wonder which ones you want to print to put on your wall. And it just seemed a simpler, more concise way to pull a lot of stuff together and have something physical. Yeah, I am really pleased with it. I think initially I was a bit worried, like I wanted it to be perfect, and again, if I'd hesitated and overthought it, I probably still would be sequencing and sorting through stuff now. But it was like, just don't overthink it. Just get it out there. You can make another one. You can kind of see something that you can add to over the years again. But it was just nice to get something together.
Yeah, that's cool. It's also very cool that you had that idea of not overthinking it, because that would be probably my issue as well.
Yeah,
Just going, yeah, trying to
yeah,
do to
yeah. The real fear was that I would send it to the printers and then I'd go to the beach like 2 days later and get the best photo I've ever taken, and I've not included it in the zine.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah, always going to happen, isn't it? Yeah,
It's a nightmare. Now
yeah,
that you mentioned it, it's like, oh no, I hope that never happens to me. But yeah, it's if it happened, then that's fine. Um, maybe getting back to your education, because you did photography as education, or because I
yeah.
saw
I did a
something
little.
about art.
Yeah, I did a little bit of art at college. So I studied art and design when I left school, and that was a little bit of everything. Um, and I did go to uni for a year, and I did textiles and multimedia stuff there. But I struggled to kind of financially cope. My parents were in a position to support me
Hmm.
financially, so it meant that I I bought myself a car with my student loan, and I used to drive to the nearest. It was about an hour and a half away, I think, to the nearest like art school, Monday to Friday, and then all weekend I would work to pay for my petrol to get there. So that first year, as much as I enjoyed it, I didn't have the student experience, and
Hmm.
it was hard going.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
really hard going, and it's something that I look at people now. There's a few people that I know whose children are going off to study art or to study photography. I'm like, so lucky. like if I do wonder if I'd done that and I'd got that technical. Um, I don't know if I'd got the background of it all a bit more than what I would be doing now. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask if it had any influence on your work now, because often it's they either try to shape you in an artist, but in their vision of an artist, I find, or it's very technical and the artistic side kind of
yeah,
lacks. So
yeah.
I was wondering if you had any.
No, the artistic side is definitely more important to me than the technical side. I think you can learn the technical side if you really need to.
Yeah, you can learn
Sometimes
that you
the
can learn on
artistic,
YouTube. Yeah,
yeah, the artistic side is something that naturally is within you or develops. And that's more important to me. It's more about expressing and showing people the world how I see it, because quite often people might not see these little things that are going on all around them. And I find that even when I don't have a camera, even when I'm not going out with specifically the intention of taking photographs, my radar are on, and I'm seeing stuff all the time thinking, oh, that would look nice, or how would I do that? Even if I haven't got a camera with me, it's just the way you see things.
yeah, it's very true. I started to. It probably sounds kind of crazy, but if I'm in the car when I'm driving or on my bike, I take like mental pictures. Like I see
Yes,
something and it's like, okay, now I'm in the right position. Check.
yes,
So I made the
yes.
sounds, like sometimes even audibly, especially in the car if I'm alone and no one can hear me, just to make sure like
Yeah, I get
I made
that.
that picture. So yeah, I
Yeah.
understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and that's all part of the kind of learning as well, isn't it? Even if you're not making the picture and capturing it, you're still learning. You're learning to see things and you're learning how you would do it when you do have a camera.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. So so I was also wondering, because your photos, so I already mentioned that they're very warm because of it's very human and personal in my opinion, but it's also very um like warm colors, so like actually warm. Do you do that with like editing, or is it more
Yeah.
uh
quite often I'll shoot in a JPEG, so I use a Fuji, and I'll like fiddle with the film simulations and the colours and the tones and all the saturation and things actually in the camera, and then I'll put it in Lightroom, and I'll, depending on where it is or what it is, I'll edit each one individually. So there's not like a general preset or anything that I use. It is dependent on each individual photo.
Yeah.
Somehow it seems to kind of be coherent as a theme. But if you scroll through Instagram, you'll see like I'll have like darker phases and then brighter phases, and I'll kind of switch it up a bit. It does kind of change
I think
quite
it's
subtly
it's
time to
quite
time.
okay with. And so, do you enjoy the editing process, or is
I
it more of
do.
a?
Yeah, I really do. Um, I was talking to a couple of photographer friends at the weekend, and one of them was saying how he really likes the editing, and the other one's like, no, I just haven't got patience for it. The least amount of faffing around, the better. But yeah, I really enjoy the editing side of it. I look forward to getting home and getting them on my iPad and looking at them all. And maybe sometimes you might overlook a photo that you then go back to a couple of days later or a week or 2 weeks later, and you see it in a different way, and you can edit it in a way that, yeah, makes it better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very true. So, do you do a lot of street photography in Grantham, or do you travel to nearby
No,
cities?
no. Grantham, I don't think would. There's not a lot going on in Grantham. If there's an event on, then yeah, I would take my
Okay.
camera around. But Nottingham, Lincoln, and Skegness is the nearest coast to us that I'll go to. But London's an hour on the train, so that's quite easy to
Okay. Yeah.
get
That's
down there.
that's doable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And whenever we're going out for a day, me and my husband or family, the camera's there. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I was wondering because you also did several photos in. I'm forgetting it was Port, no, Lisbon, and also
Lisbon and
Marrakesh. But because I was wondering, it's kind of contrast in cities, of course, also in size. If you noticed the difference, but if you travel to London, of course, that's a big city, so there's a lot of options there. Um,
yeah. So we went to Portugal twice last year. The first trip was actually with two street photography friends, and it was just for that purpose, which was lovely. That was really nice. And then I went to Marrakesh with my husband, and for that one, I just took my Ricoh, which is tiny, and a film camera, and travelled quite light. Yeah, and then we only really had one day out in the streets in Marrakesh, but yeah, I got quite a lot of photos because it's just so different. And when you go in somewhere new and you're seeing something with fresh eyes, I think it does spark your
yeah,
inspiration and motivation to keep going and see as much of
definitely.
it as possible.
Yeah, true. And so the travel to Lisbon with the other street photographers, it was really like a trip that you
Mm-hmm.
planned out with the three of you,
Yes,
I understood,
yes,
to travel or be there and just do street photography all day.
yes, yeah.
And so did you go your own way during the day and then just meet up later, or was it always
No,
together
we
or?
generally we stuck together. Um, yeah, and again, we'd get very different photos, even though we were together the whole time. Um, yeah,
Very
different.
nice, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was a
It's
really
very
good
cool.
trip.
So
Nice city.
they're from close by. You already knew them, or
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, both in Grantham. So one of them is the guy that got me into street photography. Um, yeah, so we've all got kind of a connection through our hometown and through photography, which is nice. We probably never would have been friends otherwise, and we've been on a couple of other trips since, and
yeah,
yeah, it's really nice.
yeah. You have like a wish list for places to go now, or
Um, I'd I'd really like to go to Amalfi, and I'd like to go. There's a couple of places I been to Rome and I've been to Venice before, but before I was really into street photography. I'd like to go back there now. I think I'd see those places differently as well.
Mm. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many places. New York would be amazing. And I'm not really a big city, loads of people person. I think as I've got older, I crave space and less people and freedom and open spaces. But to shoot somewhere in like New York would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you mentioned the having the space and um, the quietness in cities, kind of see that in your photos as well.
Yeah.
It's seldom that it's a busy photo or that it's like you have groups of people, but it's off more of in events. There's a lot
Yeah.
of like individuals.
Isolated
Yeah.
characters. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, now that you mentioned it, I see it in your work as well. Um,
Yeah, I'd not really thought about it like that before, but yeah, when I'm photographing people, I think I am looking for kind of cleaner scenes with just one or two people and cut everything else out and isolate them. So maybe that's something else subconscious that I'm not aware of.
yeah, maybe. And so do you look more for like you have your scene and then you wait for people to pass through it, or is it like a
Yeah,
moment that you spot and you just try to approach the people?
yeah, a bit of both, I think. A little bit of both. It used to be that I'd first catch, I'd see a person and I'd think they look cool. I need a picture of them, and I'd wait for them to get in the right spot. Um, but yeah, there are certain times where there'll be a nice patch of light, or something going on, or a sign, or some writing. You think, oh, it'd be cool if someone walked into that with something contradictory going on, and
Mm.
I'll hang around for a little while and wait and see if anything happens. And you kind of go back to the same place over and over again. You find yourself thinking, you get a shot and you think, oh, I might be able to do better than that one day. I'll keep going back. And yeah, that's again
Yeah.
another way that you kind of you learn, don't you? And you never really settle. I think
No.
even when you get a really good shot, I'll always look at it and think, oh, but if only that was there, or that wasn't there, or it would be better if. Yeah. So that's all how we all improve, isn't it, though, in anything?
True. Yeah, very much. And so do you have like certain spots that you frequent more often that you say like, okay, this is a place that
Um,
I keep going back to. I have thousands of photos already, but I can't stop photographing it. Do you have those spots? You don't have
yeah,
to necessarily mention them, but
maybe. There's a staircase in London on the South Bank, and it's a yellow kind of spiral staircase. I don't know if you've seen it, and I've taken a few shots there. There was one really early on, and it was just a single man in a hat walking up the staircase. It's quite a minimal kind of shot. I was really pleased with that one. I'm going home with that one. And then a couple of years later, I got another one, which is a different angle of it. And it was a little girl in a yellow coat running alongside, and there's a puddle and reflection, and the symmetry of the yellow staircase and the girl in the yellow coat kind of match up. And so it's the same location, but the two photos are very, very different.
hmm,
And yeah, yeah, I like kind of mixing it up a little bit.
yeah, that
Exhausting a scene. I could photograph the same thing like 20 times, 20 different ways, and I'll find myself, if I've got the time, I will just exhaust every possibility with it until I've got like the best compositions that I think I can get. I won't just see something I think that's cool, take a picture, move on. If I've got time, I'll keep going.
hmm.
Yeah.
So you really take your time around a place. You're not like
Yeah.
well what you call a
More,
hunter.
more, yeah. Less so people, but more so with like scenes or like, still objects.
Hmm.
I'll really take my time, think about it. People, I feel really hurried, and it's instinct. It's just like, yeah, get it done, and yeah, see what happens. Hope for the best, and
Yeah.
yeah, Yeah,
There's a lot of hoping in street
there is.
photography with from
There
time to
is.
time. Yeah. Um, and so do you? Because to me, there's a difference, of course, between the to me London and like the classic English cities are very different. So um, do you enjoy that difference, or is it difficult for you, or how do you look to it?
Yeah, no, it is. It is different. I like the kind of difference. Again, it's like seeing somewhere so different is what motivates me and sparks me to think, oh yeah, that's worth taking a picture of. I think it's being stuck in the same places, um, it becomes quite hard to see things with fresh eyes, if you like. I
Mm.
think um, having a bit of a variety, so going to the seaside, going to London, um, going
Yeah.
somewhere else, it helps me not feel stuck.
So you like a bit of
And not feel bored, I
variation, yeah.
suppose, as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to get bored photographing the same things, and I'm sure there'll come a time where I'll kind of have had my fill of street photography again for a bit, and then I'll stop going to cities for a bit, and I'll be back at the seaside, and then vice versa. It will go full
Yeah.
circle.
So
Um,
do you do you have those well, let's call it seasons often that you're like, okay, now I'm going to focus. Well, it's maybe not intentional,
yeah,
but
it's
it's
not a conscious thing. Again, it's um, I'll recognise perhaps, oh, I've not been out on my camera for ages, or I feel a need to get out and take pictures because it makes me feel good and
hmm,
I
yeah,
really enjoy it. So it's difficult to know where to go sometimes, where to go somewhere new. So we'd found a really cool place just the other side of Nottingham, which is an old power station that's just been closed down. And in front of it, there's an old boatyard, and there's all these abandoned boats in front of these huge cooling towers. And um, that was amazing. I've been there like 3 times, and again, you could just take photos of the same thing so many times and come up with something new and
yeah,
different
yeah,
light or different seasons. It looks very different. And I want more places like that, but I don't know how to find them. Sometimes I'll find myself thinking, right, I've got a day off tomorrow. Right, where can I go? And I'll open Google Maps and I'll zoom out and I'll kind of scour where I've been, thinking, right, what would be a good direction to go in, and see what you find. And sometimes it is just getting in the car and driving and pulling over as you see stuff and see where it takes you. But yeah, if I could come up with a way of having like an index of these kind of interesting playgrounds that we could go to, that would
yeah.
be good.
It is difficult. I had a period for myself that if I saw an interesting location in a photo of someone, I would on Instagram I would save it in like a special folder, and then like once every so often, if I would think of it, I would put all those places on like a Google Maps, pinpoint them. So I had like a map, but yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes it's just easier to go out, or it's more fun
yeah,
to just go out.
and find it. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
more fun if you find it unexpectedly, isn't it?
yeah, or go with people
Yeah.
who already know places, or
Yes,
but yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
depends if that's possible, of course.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so it's getting quite late here actually.
Yeah, so yeah,
uh,
you're an hour ahead, aren't you?
yeah, it's almost 10 p.m. now. So am I? It's I'm very
Very
sweaty.
hot by the looks
Yeah,
of it.
it's it's we had a heat wave, which it should be ending now, I think, but it's still in the house here, so I can't get rid of it. All the windows were open, but and there was wind, but yeah,
Oh, once it's in, it ain't going out.
yeah. So yeah, some rooms it's okay, but then this room, it yeah, it refused to cool down. And so I had to close the windows for the recording because it was also starting to thunder outside.
Oh,
So I didn't want to have us interrupted by the. So yeah.
cool.
So thank you, Sarah, for your amazing time and your insights. If anyone wants to follow Sarah, of course, her links will be in the description to her website and to her Instagram. Make sure to follow her fantastic work, of course. Also, make sure to follow the podcast on your favorite platform. It doesn't really matter which platform that is, or follow me for any updates. And again, thank you, Sarah, for your time.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's been really good to talk to you.